I'm not saying that the existing structure of the United States is preserved. I'm saying there will be something new coming from it. I believe the left are reactionary. And it's always interesting how you define how they try to define what reactionary is, right? The left will say we're reactionaries because it makes no sense.
Well, the left explicitly claim to be progressive, and they are progressive because what they're trying to achieve is communism.
Yes.
Yes.
What you're trying to achieve is classical liberalism, and that's what you had, and that's why you're trapped in this country with people who are at war with you because they literally are just psychotically obsessed with the end goal of communism, and they find any roadblock worthy of being destroyed no matter what it is.
But a component of what they do is reactionary in that they're trying to rewind the clock. I think we talked about this a long time ago, that the United States, maybe not, it's one of the first countries with the concept of individual meritocracy without based on race, national origin, religion, etc. Yeah. And the left is trying to eliminate that. They're trying to rewind the clock to a time before we had this classical liberal system that allowed individual merit.
Yes, but the thing is, before and after won't be the individualistic classical liberal republic you're thinking of. But the left are not trying to go back to what was prior to the United States. They're trying to get to an idealized future that they think will come afterwards.
Technically, I would say overwhelmingly yes, but that's why I say a component, and is reactionary. That's why a lot of these words describe only specifics. When Derek,
to be honest with you, you guys are the reactionaries here, right? Because you want the 1776 America.
No, I disagree.
Do you not want the 1776 America?
They had yellow fever. It was not good.
Well,
politically, technologically, obviously, you want things sort of advanced.
No, the answer is no, I don't.
Right. Okay. What are you looking for politically?
So it depends on what your definition of progressive is, right? I think that when you look at where this country was,
that's the question, right? Well, okay, they talk about we're progressives. Progressing where?
Right.
To what?
So that's why I would say no. I actually want a changed future, right? I think that we need to amend the Constitution to clarify things and make them better. Now, I understand the political realities of amending the Constitution, opening the door to your enemies coming in and destroying it.
2/3 vote or something as well.
But imagine if there's a culture war and the communists are defeated and just totally give up and they're not a question anymore, and the constitutional Republicans or Republicanists, whatever you want to call it, say, hey, how can we amend the Constitution to improve upon it so this doesn't happen again? For instance, the Second Amendment can be made to include literally any arm, any accessory. Quite literally, we need to fix things. But I also want to point out that I don't want to go back to a time pre-women's suffrage. I don't want to go back to a time when a constitution was written about the rights of men when men were enslaved. I don't want to go back to any of that. I want to see the realization of our moral values.
I wasn't speaking to the literal point of 1776.
But this is the point. We're not trying to go back.
I was talking to the spirit of the thing, right? Because obviously the amendments came afterwards. And obviously they're good. So
if we're saying reactionary as in go back to the way things were, that's a bad thing. We don't want to do that.
No. I'm not saying literally go back in time. What I'm saying is you're trying to restore the spirit of the American Republic as it was originally conceived. Because all of the good things that the American Republic was conceived of, all of the founding fathers knew would be a consequence of the American Republic. They just didn't have the political capital to be able to do it right there and then. Right.
Agreed.
Like all of, not all of them, but a lot of the founding fathers owned slaves, but wanted to abolish slavery and things like this, right? And so they knew that this was the path that this would end up being done on. And so you want to return to that spirit. But the thing is, the progressives have got a different interpretation of this. And they say, okay, yeah, well, we want freedom too. We want freedom from everything, right?
Freedom from hunger.
Positive freedom.
Yeah. Right?
And so their version of progress, their ideal view of the future, is essentially what you could describe as communism. It's the freedom from literally everything, and you're trapped in this country with these lunatics.
Right.
This is half your country that are absolutely fucking batshit, that have stigmatized the human body itself as an oppressive thing. Right. Reality itself is a form of oppression, and so now what do you do with them? Like how do you deal with that?
Well, so in terms of descriptions of reactionary or otherwise, it's almost pointless because you could make the argument that everyone else is more reactionary. To what degree?
Sure, but the question is the moral loading on the terms. I mean, to be a progressive, to say, well, you want children to be completely liberated from any relationship with their own parents. That's horrible. Right? If it makes me a reactionary, say no, children belong to their parents and they should love and care for each other, then I'm a reactionary.
Well, right, but should we can be dark with it. I think we're winning. You want to know another reason why I think we're winning? because the left is substantially more likely to abort and sterilize their children, and the right are encouraging people to have families and have kids.
The problem is they control the schools.
And also,
but look at what's happening in this country with the cultural shift with parental rights and education. Look at Loudoun County is literally 30 seconds away from this building. 30 seconds, boom, you're in Loudoun. If you want to go to where the schools are, you drive a little bit more. But the parents are showing up and they're saying, hey, we don't want this stuff. And the laws are getting passed across the board. Now, there may be conflict between the cult and the free people of the United States. Don't get me wrong. But there's a major cultural shift